What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for joining us on Robert Garcia Unfiltered. Today is Sunday, March 28th. Again, we're sorry right now. We're not able to go live like we used to. My dad moved and he's having a bunch of repairs and stuff done to the house, getting it remodeled and stuff. So we don't really have a set room where we can go live. But we still wanted to get back to you guys. We had some big news this week. Just announced that Oscar De La Hoya is making his comeback July 3rd at AT&T Stadium, Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The report says that he is coming back in a multi-fight deal with the first one supposedly being against a current UFC star, with one of the names being thrown out there as Conor McGregor. There's obviously a lot of different guys that he could be going up against, but we'll start with what are your thoughts about Oscar just coming back in general? What do you think about that?
I think the reason he's doing it, and because there's, with the Tyson Roy Jones exhibition match that they had coming back, it did really good and sold a lot of pay-per-view, and it was just a big hit. And Chavez has been doing it. Chavez is going to do one against Macho Jr. There's been quite a few comebacks like that, and so Oscar's a big name. Oscar, has been loved by the whole boxing world, for many, many years, and still up to now, he's still a big name. So it definitely makes a lot of sense for him to come back, especially when there's a lot of money running around with this type of fights, comebacks, and exhibitions. Well, he's probably saying, why shouldn't I? If I'm also a big name, I don't blame him. There is a lot of money out there right now, so why not pick it up?
Yeah, like I said, his return date, he didn't say too much information on possible opponents and stuff like that. The rumors coming out are that it's going to be a UFC fighter, but all he did was, I don't know if you saw the interview, it was on during a press conference that he just, not an interview even, he just walked up on stage with Snoop Dogg and says, July 3rd, I'm back. He had previously said that that when they asked him about whether it's going to be a exhibition or a real fight, he said no, he wants to go after the best guy. So what do you think about him coming back and not in an exhibition the way we've seen Floyd do exhibitions? We've seen, like you said, Chavez, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones was an exhibition, but he's coming back for a real fight. What do you think about that?
Well, if it's going to be an exhibition, I mean a real fight, but it's going to be against the UFC fighter, we've been hearing rumors that it could be Conor McGregor. Well, then that could actually be a real fight. I don't think he could fight a middleweight right now. He'll probably get hurt. But if he's fighting somebody like Conor, why can't it be a real fight? I think it makes a lot of sense. Conor is not a fighter. He's not a boxer. He's a UFC fighter, and inside the ring, we've seen it. He's not horrible, but it is
Oscar can handle someone like that.
A fight. I think Oscar could handle it. I don't think it's against a top middleweight. If it was against maybe another retired professional fighter, maybe they could do an exhibition. But if he's talking about doing a real fight, doing something against Conor McGregor, is going to be huge. It'll be huge. It'll sell a lot of pay-per-views. They'll make a lot of money, and that's what's on style right now. Everybody seems like they want to do it, and we're seeing it, and people are paying for it.
With this whole stuff, like we mentioned that all these guys doing exhibition fights and they're getting paid a lot of money about it. We've talked about it at the gym with some of the guys, some of the boxers, some of the professional boxers, world champs that we have at the gym have voiced their displeasure a little bit, saying that they don't really like it, that it makes boxing look bad. What do you say to people that say that, to the boxers that say that are current world champs, that see other retired fighters, former fighters, whatever, coming in making more money than they make? What do you say to that, knowing that we're in a sport where it's entertainment? Yes, it is a sport, and obviously accolades matter, so being a world champ means something, but at the end of the day, you're paid based off of what you bring to the table. We've seen numerous world champs who either because they're smaller weight classes or they just don't draw the type of attention as other guys. Like I would mention someone like at middleweight right now, Demetrius Andrade. He is in a division where there's several big fights that he could have had by now with Golovkin, Canelo, guys like that. But his style isn't the most crowd pleasing. He doesn't have a big following, so he doesn't get those big fights. With guys coming back, what do you think about that? With fighters maybe not being okay, like current world champs maybe not being okay with it. But like I said, you get paid off of what you bring to the table.
Yeah, but I don't blame those real fighters, that have been doing this for their whole life. They work their ass off. They sacrifice their family. They sacrifice their bodies with so much workout, so much sparring, going away from home, for training camps. It is. I could say, I don't blame them. I understand the fighters that feel like that. It is a little upsetting to see that fighters are working their ass off. They kill themselves in the gym making weight. They kill themselves in sparring for 2 months before their fights, and they see these guys coming back on exhibitions making 2, 3, 4 times more money than they are making. So I totally understand. It is sad to see it, but it's just the way boxing is right now. You don't see that anywhere else. You don't see that. You can't have somebody that went to school their whole, graduated, went to college, university, and became a doctor. You don't see somebody out of a sudden just say, I'm a doctor too, and I'm gonna go make a big surgery. It just doesn't happen. So that's why professional world-class fighters, world champions, they feel that it's wrong because they're working their ass off. They're killing themselves. They've already done it for 20 years of their career since they were kids, and they see guys come back or worse, YouTubers that are just have nothing to do in boxing. They come and make 3, 4 times more money than they're making. Most of the fighters that are active right now are against it because rightfully so. I think it's not fair for them to fight for a lot less. But like you said, it is how much you bring, how much attention, how much people follow you. So that's the way it is right now. Boxing has changed. Not only do real fans watch it, but if you have millions and millions of followers, they're gonna follow you, even though they could go have a tennis match, and I'm pretty sure all their followers are willing to watch because they just love what they do, and they love following them, and they see everything they do. A lot of them are choosing boxing, and it's a thing to do right now. So I don't say they shouldn't do it because obviously everybody has the right to make the money that they can, and if it's like this, well then go for it. Why not? Shit, if I get a phone call fucking saying you want to do an exhibition against so and so,
it's Oscar De La Hoya, July 3rd at Cowboy Stadium.
I might. Well, he's gonna fight Conor McGregor. It's obviously only fight that makes a lot of sense for pay-per-views. Oscar De La Hoya. He's a huge name, and Conor McGregor is. So I think if he's doing a multiple fight deal, then I'm sure there's going to be other fights. I seen a little Fernando Vargas calling him out. They never had a rematch.
One of the things that I saw was, as soon as Oscar announced it, the first person that I saw post something like current or former was Manny Pacquiao. He posted a quick little video of when they fought, of him when they stopped the fight, of the combinations he had landed on Oscar like before the round ended, and that was one of the first things. So obviously everybody right away started speculating that, oh, he's gonna fight Pacquiao. But then again, now we heard reports that it's gonna be a current UFC fighter. So we still don't know. But like you just said, Fernando Vargas, guys like Maidana, he never had a rematch with someone like Tito Trinidad. He fought Shane Mosley, yes, and those were great fights. Right. So there's a bunch of different ways they can.
There's a bunch of fights, and all the fighters, most of the fighters are retired except for Manny Pacquiao, but he's also 41 or 42. I don't even know. So it's still, even that one makes some sense, I guess. But Trinidad, Vargas, Conor McGregor, I think if it's a multi-fight deal, then I'm pretty sure it's going to be those type of fighters, and all the new boxing fans, they didn't get to see those fights in the 90s. They didn't get to see those at all in the early 2000s. never saw those fights. So they want to see them. They know they are big names. And, just like Tyson, Roy Jones. Tyson's from the 80s, 90s. And Roy
90s,
Jones also from the late 80s and 90s. So a lot of people, everybody still knows who Mike Tyson is. So Mike Tyson is making a comeback. Everybody tuned in.
I never got to see Mike Tyson fight live.
Exactly. You guys, so right now, Oscar De La Hoya, same way, Fernando Vargas, Tito Trinidad, those will probably make a lot of sense. Those probably will be big fights if those are the ones they have in mind. But if it is against Conor McGregor, well, who else? That would be huge, and they would do really good numbers on pay-per-view. But I also see the fighters that are working their ass off, that are killing themselves to not even make that kind of money. We just seen it a couple of weeks ago with Chocolatito Estrada and with Chocolatito against Estrada. Against Estrada, Chocolatito against Estrada. And those guys don't make a lot of money for those wars that they go through. So of course they have to be a little upset but it's just the way boxing is. There's nothing anybody could do about it. It's if you sell, if people pay to watch you, well, then that's the kind of money you're gonna make. So I also understand. I can't be mad at them either. But it kind of sucks.
One of the things that I found weird about Oscar announcing his comeback on a Triller press conference and saying he has signed a multi-fight deal with Triller. DAZN has a deal with Golden Boy Boxing as well as with Matchroom. With Matchroom, we've seen on undercards before Jake Paul fought, or Logan, but I think it was Jake Paul. One of those guys fought. Some of the YouTubers have been on some of the Matchroom cards. Golden Boy hasn't had those cards yet, but I figured Oscar De La Hoya last week on Virgil's undercard, he said, that he's been training and working out and he wants to come back. So, he was talking about it on DAZN, but he goes and signs a multi-fight deal with Triller. What do you take to that? Because like I just said, DAZN, who has shown like those kind of fight YouTube exhibitions and stuff, has a deal with Oscar's company, Golden Boy Promotions, but he's over here fighting on a competing platform. What do you think about that?
That is surprising for me and I'm sure a lot of people. Having his own promotion and being one of the top promoters in the world, it kind of does look weird. And there's a lot of questions out there that people might want to know. I really don't know. But it kind of does at the same time kind of makes his promotion look like they're not good enough to promote his own fight and do the event and
his promotion, his platform, DAZN. Along with
it's crazy because this guy's Trailers, they've only done one show. It was a success, but they're I'm pretty sure it's because of the money they offered him. If it's a multi-fight deal, they probably came up with a big chunk of money. His own company might not even have, or I don't think he could go to DAZN and tell them this is what I need to make a comeback. Maybe Triller's the only one that came up with that money. So I don't blame him for doing it, but it also kind of makes himself, his company,
look like they can't handle that
bad. It's kind of weird. It's like if Bob Arum, finds something else to go start doing things with Triller instead of Top Rank, it is kind of weird. But only they know. I'm pretty sure the money was really, really good, so he couldn't say no.
Speaking of Golden Boy Promotions, I think that kind of does it for the topic of Oscar De La Hoya. One of the things that recently came out, one of Golden Boy's biggest rising stars, Ryan Garcia, the WBC came out saying that he has a WBC mandatory 135 pounds versus Javier Fortuna. I personally think that's a really, really close fight. That's a really good fight. Fortuna, I think, is a step above Luke Campbell, which is the way Ryan Garcia should be taken along now. Like, he beat Luke Campbell already. I think he should take a step up, and I think Fortuna is a step up. What do you think about Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna, with it being a title eliminator for Devin Haney?
I think that's going to be a solid fight. I think Ryan is right now, his confidence is so high, and believes in himself so much that I think he's gonna win. But I think it is a solid fight for him. Fortuna is short, awkward, strong, also very, very skillful. So it's probably his best test out there. I'm not gonna say his toughest, because he could land one punch in 2 or 3 rounds and knock him out. Because Ryan's fast and
But
powerful.
going into the fight, do you
But
think
it is,
it's his
yes,
toughest test?
it is his toughest test. I think that's the fights that he needs to do for the fans. We we want to watch those fights. We appreciate him doing those fights, because going around and even though all the popularity you have and picking your opponents, it just doesn't look good for himself. But that's a solid fight. I think it's going to be a great test for him. I think he passes it, but it will be a real test.
One of the things with the Luke Campbell fight that I thought was good matchmaking, good job by Golden Boy, was they got him a good step up fight. But I said going into it that Luke Campbell was a dangerous kind of guy where he could make a fight difficult, but he didn't have the kind of power like he wasn't going into like a really dangerous fight. But even Luke Campbell was able to drop him. Someone like Fortuna, it does carry that kind of punch, so it makes it a really dangerous fight for Ryan. But we'll see when they announce that, because like I said, it's supposed to be an eliminator for the WBC, because Ryan has the interim, so the full WBC champ, or what's Devin Haney considered? Because Teofimo has the WBC.
Whatever. Yeah, it's weird the way they do him now, but he is the champion, so I guess Ryan will be his mandatory.
Yeah, but yeah, again, that does it for today's episode, I guess you could say. Again, we will be going live soon, guys. We're sorry for the
couple weeks, because I think it's still gonna take a couple more weeks in the house. It's just being remodeled. So we'll
have a setup for you guys soon.
We'll keep doing videos like this here and there, but yeah, we'll go back to our show on Sundays. I think another 3 to 4 weeks.
And yeah, later this week we have again, we give him a shout out, Tino, last week on last week's episodes. He's been helping us a lot. He's gonna help us do like an intro for the show, and he's gonna be teaching me a few more things so I could get to you guys a little bit more. But yeah, again, that does it. Thank you guys for tuning in to Robert Garcia Unfiltered. Make sure you guys subscribe and share the video. I will be making an Instagram account for this channel soon, so stay posted on that. For now, just follow my dad at Garcia Boxing for all the news on RGBA. Again, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.